Hello and welcome to another episode of M Review. Today we're going to take a closer look at the all-new Ateca. I've met some people who actually think this is pronounced Seat, the ignorance. I know it spells it, but no, it's actually pronounced Seat. And it's Spanish like FC Barcelona and your favorite tapas. It's owned by the Volkswagen Group, which is why you will find a lot of VW-ness in this Seat Ateca. And straight up, this car, I think it's rather boring. Which is exactly why, to spice things up, we have brought in this. Hell yeah! Now you would think this is some Seat Ateca R or Seat GT, but no, apparently this isn't a Seat at all. It's called a Cupra, and it's the performance version of a Seat. Something like Alpina to BMW or DS to Citroen, or like your better looking sibling who always outperforms you in everything you try to do. You get the idea, right? And because it's now a standalone brand, it gets its own badge, which is this. Whether you think this was designed by a gaming geek or looks like your gynecologist's letterhead, I think it's a very bold move to have done this. It's a very love it or hate it kind of design. Besides the logo, the quad pipes and the meaner looking front, you may think there's actually nothing that much more when compared to the Seat Ateca. But my friend, you are so wrong. What if I told you this Cupra, it has a 4-wheel drive system, 7-speed dual clutch gearbox, an amazing launch control system, more horses than the Mitsubishi Evo 10. And get this, it does 0 to 100 faster than the newest turbocharged Honda Civic Type R. How much faster? 0.6 seconds faster, which is like 6 hours in the real world. Can you hear that? You know what that is? That's the sound of all the egos of the Honda fanboys being crushed. Okay, it's time to walk the talk. Let me show you the difference between a Seat Ateca and a Cupra Ateca. The car does seem a bit bigger from the outside. It's getting a bit tight in here. This armrest is too low. A sleeper is defined as a car with high performance but an unassuming exterior. This Cupra Ateca is the definition of a sleeper. No doubt it has a quad exhaust and a Decepticons looking badge. I think with all the rubbish mods that people are doing out there, to the untrained eye, you may even mistake this for a Vezel or a Vitara. It's like when you see that geeky girl who sits next to you during class for the first time on prom night, and you start to think to yourself, damn. And you jizz your pants. And the power, you just can't get enough of it. Like the pearls in bubble tea, and all the cracks and pops you hear from the exhaust. Wet. I really don't feel like I'm driving an SUV or a CUV. It feels like a hot hatch or a performance car. I think for an SUV, the handling is just spot on. There are 6 driving modes, and right now I'm on the Cupra mode, which is the one mode you don't get on the Seat Ateca. So there's off-road and snow, which is not going to happen. There's individual, Cupra, Sport, which doesn't make sense because there's a Cupra mode, and Comfort. And when you dial down to Comfort mode, the steering, the suspension, the power, the whole car just goes back into its cave and it turns into a Seat Ateca. Given its power, I think the fuel consumption for this car is pretty decent. I averaged about 9+ kilometers to the litre. And the car comes with a load of features as well. There's a digital cockpit display, there's adaptive cruise control, there's a 360 cam, there's park assist so the car parks itself, cross traffic alert, wireless charging, Android and Apple CarPlay, the whole 9 yards. Basically, it won't disappoint. Speaking of wireless charging, I love the way they slanted the wireless charging pad where you place your phone downwards. No, this is not so it's easier for you to find your phone. Come on. This is obviously so that your phone doesn't fly out when you launch this bad boy. It's like they're giving you a warning, you know. And don't we all love gauges? And you can just swipe, you know, to swap between them. And it's got a very good ratio of buttons to screen, meaning not too many buttons and not too many things placed inside your touchscreen. Now here's another very important point. The lock to lock for the steering is only slightly over one full turn, meaning when you full lock to the left or to the right, the steering wheel turns only about one full circle, which is much lesser compared to most of the other cars. Now, this doesn't mean that the turning radius is bad. In fact, it has a very decent 5.2 meter turning radius. But this means that your steering wheels turn a lot more for the same amount of input into your steering. So basically, things like U-turns and our multi-story car park hill climbs are so much more easier. And since we're on the topic of important things, let me show you another feature this car has. A CD player. This is the definition of a waste of space. And unlike the Seat Ateca, this Cupra Ateca comes with an upgraded Beats sound system, which I'm loving. I don't know if you can hear me, but this much power and this music is bad for your health. You could end up wrapped around a tree. Now, this will not come as a surprise to my fellow car geeks. But before you run out there and place a deposit on this Cupra Ateca, I think I should let the cat out of the bag first. Remember how I told you that Seat is actually owned by the Volkswagen Group? Yes. So you actually get the exact same engine, gearbox and four-wheel drive system as a Golf R, an Audi S3 and even a Porsche Macan. And it doesn't end there. You will find lots of Volkswagen's parts and features in this car as well. In fact, since Skoda is owned by VW, you will find a lot of similarity between this and the Karoq. Truth is, they're all pretty much using the same platform. So if you think about it, really, it's just VW playing and shifting things around. It's like me telling you the bosses of McDonald's and Burger King are the same and they share recipes. Now, we know that's not true, but imagine if it were. No doubt the taste differs. Would you actually look at Burger King the same? If the answer is yes, then it doesn't matter. But we all know KFC is still the best. But really, it's actually not a bad thing. In fact, in a way, it kind of gives you the confidence because you now know that the platform and the features of this car have been tried, tested and proven to work. The Seat Ateca starts at about 127,000. Now, how much more do you have to fork out for the Cupra badge? A whopping 65,000. Yes, the Cupra Ateca starts at about 192 grand. And considering the fact that besides the power, you only get a digital cockpit, park assist and your Beats audio system as extras, this really is something to think about. No doubt the features are great, but for 200k I would expect a nicer looking interior with a little less plastic. It's like queuing 30 minutes and paying $10 for nasi lemak that tastes really good, but your ikan bilis is burnt. Oh, and good luck explaining your brand new $200,000 car to your parents. With that, it's now time to rate this all-new Cupra Ateca. Now listen very carefully. This will only make sense if you're a speed junkie like I am. And also because it has the same engine as the Golf R, S3 and Macan. It's a buy. That's it from me, Jackie. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next episode.